Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind. Dusty Litster and Dane Stewart, as always, presented by our good friends at Heidemann and Associates.
Yeah, that's right, Dusty. Look, there's no one better suited to take care of your legal needs than the experts at Heidemann Associates. It's a law firm with a flat rate service. Yeah, they're not going to bill you for a ton of hours, and you're wondering, what do they actually do? No. Flat rate service, and they're completely focused on you and on your needs, understanding your situation, and helping you navigate the challenges of life. Give them a call at 801-472-7742 or visit utah.law for a free consultation and to find the law office nearest you.
Absolutely. I also want to thank our friends at Igloo Outfitters, IGLUOutfitters.com. Weather's already turning. I can't believe we're already to October. That's why Dane and I right now, we're virtual. We were trying to shoot the show on site. It was raining. It's like, well, let's just do it from home so we're not going to be all soaking wet. But again, Igloo Outfitters can help you. It's a wearable sleeping bag. And we mentioned before, if you're a Lone Peak or Skyridge fan, they have patches for that. You can put patches on, look awesome. Again, Igloo Outfitters, IGLUOutfitters.com. Also want to thank our good friends at Odeon, the artist formerly known as Modern Missionary. The best smelling menswear place you're ever going to walk into. I absolutely promise it. You go in there, they're spectacular. Let them know that Rewind sent you. They're going to take care of you as well. And then, of course, our friends at Advanced Windows, they sponsor our picks video. But Dane's already kicking my rear end on there. Go find out how many games Dane is up after this last weekend when Dusty took some big swings. Just go check it out in our picks video. Again, I want to thank all of our terrific sponsors for jumping on and helping us out here on KSL Sports Rewind. Well, when we're not close, it means there's no challenge. It does mean we open ourselves up to Vince Francis making fun of us. But I apologize. We haven't had the challenge video for the last couple of weeks.
We'll get it. Don't worry. The ideas are stacking up. We got a plethora of opportunities for Dusty to embarrass himself because we all know, look, Dusty, I don't know what it is, if there's a magnet or something, but he's always getting the challenge. So we'll bring that back to you as soon as we can, but can't wait to see what Vince has in store for us. I have a feeling we got some good ones coming, Dusty.
I got a feeling that a personal video is coming out this week. I promise it. I'm making the movement right there. We're going to share it. We're like, hey, I make fun of myself here, but you need to know this stuff's happening right now. So, yeah, it's very true. I don't know what it is. I can't help but get those things. All right, let's get right into this thing. Let's go to our opening statement brought to you by Heidemann and Associates.
All right. Hey, Dusty, our game of the week last week was a big region matchup, Brighton and Alta. This was crazy because Brighton has not won a game in this matchup. Do you know how long it's been since Brighton has won a game against Alta in football?
Wow, it's maybe since Semifoco, so 2017?
Try 2014. It's been a long time since Brighton has beat Alta. They haven't played, I think, since
that would have been Semifoco, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a long, long time. And look, the way this game started, no Jack Johnson for the Brighton Bengals, still nursing that injury. We're hoping that we get to see Jack once again before his career comes to a close at the end of the season. But Brighton gets out to an early lead in this one. Dusty, I don't know what is in the water at Alta High School, but, man, their second half, super impressive. They were down in this game 10-3. They go on a 21-0 run in the second half. We were at Alta earlier this year, and it was a 27-0 third quarter and a win over Westlake, who had walked into that game undefeated at that point. I'll tell you, this Alta team, they don't get a lot of credit for their defense, but man, they completely took everything away from Brighton. And this offense is quietly one of the top scoring offenses in 5A. There's so much potency to this offense between Kepa and McKay. But then you look at the wideouts. I mean, Tuala, he had a nice game, but not a real huge game for Alta. And then you think of, Lonis, who they didn't have Cottis in this game. So Lonis had to carry the load out of the backfield. This is a loaded Alta team with so many options around them. They got off to a tough start in region. They lost a lot of close games. They lost to East by one possession. They were in that game at West until late when West pulled away. Keep your eyes on Alta. This could be a sneaky team that could make a postseason run to a semifinal. They are loaded on both ends of the football, and they are physical up front. This Alta team is legit.
No, absolutely are. When Jager gets going, too, that kid makes big plays. Yep. Like Randolph from years past. And
here's the other thing with the passing game, Dusty. You want to know the size they play at cornerback? 6'1" and 6'2" on the outside. Yeah. You're not going to win a ball out of the air against them. You got to run clean routes. You got to find a way to get open. That secondary is really good. And their linebacking play with Miley. I mean, this is a complete Alta team. Maybe one of the more complete Alta teams we've seen since their glory days of making semifinals.
That's very true. That's a great call. I mean, it was a big win for Alta. Congratulations to them. My opening statement, We tried to talk about who was the second best team in the state, and we flirted a little bit with American Fork, and we said maybe AF could. Well, Skyridge gets their first. I think their first true test of where do we think Skyridge is. Now remember, they play AF to close out the year in a couple of weeks. The Lone Peak comes in after beating American Fork 17-14 into Skyridge. Now they had the third-string quarterback. All that stuff doesn't matter because when you look at the scoreboard, 34 first-half points for the Skyridge Falcons. I mean, Jackson Stevens was spectacular. Jack Burke was a new name we got to learn. By the way, Dane, I don't know if you've seen the catch and run from Trent Call. Remember, he was the quarterback a year ago. Yeah. I mean, it was filthy. He made 6 Lone Peak defenders miss, 3 of which were surrounding him when he caught the ball. Just filthy 48-yard touchdown catch. He had 2 as well. I mean, it was quite the first half for Skyridge. They improved to 8-0 on the year and stamping themselves the number 2 team in the state. And I think they want to make a case for number 1. We'll see what happens. Corner Canyon and the region, everything else. I think Corner Canyon will come in to the playoffs very healthy. Yeah, I think it's a nice way of saying they're going to dominate the region. And for Skyridge, they've got a couple other tests coming up. But, man, Skyridge looks good. And for Jackson Stevens, this is the biggest game he's played in his high school career, and he played his best game of the season on Friday night for Skyridge. Congratulations to Coach Ham and the Skyridge Falcons, because that was quite the performance. Because that Ryan Denning defense is as good as advertised, and they shredded it.
Yeah, it was a big win. And look, Lone Peak able to get a pair of offensive touchdowns. It's been a few weeks since we've seen that. Luke Christensen with a couple touchdown passes. We've talked about the quarterback position. They haven't had a lot of consistency there. You wonder if they can
injuries
find that in the back half of the year. Yeah, it's been just brutal. And it's not just that position. There have been other guys that have gone down, and they've had to really dig deep in their lineup. But, there's some crazy stuff about Lone Peak, what they've experienced this year. We'll touch that in our rankings video. You're going to want to check that out, see where they come in. There's some interesting things about their schedule. But, look, this was a statement win. You're right, for the Skyridge Falcons. Big time.
Yeah, very, very big win. All right, Dane, let's go to our best of 6A.
Yeah, hey, look, I'm going to go with it was one good game for myself, quite frankly, and I have to thank Sentinel Nation for representing Dane and helping build up a little bit of a lead. You can go check our picks video to see all the schools that helped Dane out this week. But look, Mountain Ridge and Harriman, this was a big-time game. They both had early region losses and trying to stay tight in that region contest. This one was big, and it was a 16-0 second half for the Sentinels in the come-from-behind victory over Harriman. Brody Laga, this young man, Dusty, look, when we interviewed Coach Mayfu, we asked him about Brody, what it's like to coach him. He said he's got some personality to him. Well, he's got a leg as well. Brody hit 4 field goals, including one from 59 yards for the Sentinels in the 33-24 victory. Wyatt Bingham had a pair of rushing touchdowns. Glasgow had a rushing touchdown and 2 receiving touchdowns. Mountain Ridge, 33-24. They get back with a big-time region win.
Yeah, that was a big win, and we had that right here on the Rewind Sports Network. And, man, that was another track meet at Harriman High School. I mean, what in the world is going on? I mean, Jeff Hansen gave it a great nickname, by the way. He called it the Kennecott Copper Bowl.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, they should get that thing sponsored right now. Get it done.
That is a good one. Hey, by the way, while we're on Harriman, in the losing effort, Freddie Ty. Guys, you got to be on this kid. This is a kid that can play at the next level. Stellar. And we did that game against Bingham 2 weeks ago. There's some interesting tidbits about Freddie in that game. I'm telling you, you need to recruit this young man. Coaches, if you're watching Freddie Ty at Harriman, put him on your radar.
Yeah, absolutely. He was great. But, man, Legend Glasgow was legendary. I mean, he was
big time.
Unreal in that game.
Yep.
All right, from that one, what's this one? You know what? You always called me a Region 4 homer, and that always hurt my feelings because now I'm just Region 3 because you chased me off. You made me go to talk Skyridge, my opening statement. And here we go. To American Fork. Look, AF comes off the loss to PG. Pleasant Grove comes in 7-0 for the first time since 2009. Well, this looks like 2009, but PG jumped out 10-7. Carson Rasmussen had a 60-yard touchdown run after Early and Often had gotten the end zone for American Fork, but then this offense got going. Dylan Story found Jet Nelson. He threw another dime to Davis Andrews, who, man, I know his announcement's coming out pretty soon. He's going to school. You may want to play this kid at offense. I mean, he has been unreal at tight end. And then Dax Watts had a 1-yard touchdown run as AF bounced back after the loss to Lone Peak, 31-10, handing Pleasant Grove their first loss, and then just like in '09, PG gets their first loss of the season in the 8th game of the year. I mean, that's kind of freaky to think about, but big win for American Fort.
Yeah, indeed. Good to see them back on the winning track, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to, like I said, it's setting it up. The collision course, the Sky Ridge and AF is still set. Only 2 weeks away. Can they stay clean? So, all right, Dane, best of 5A.
All right, hey, I'm gonna go to another game that was a good game. How about Springville and Maple Mountain, huh? Another one where the Red Devils helping one of us out, Dusty. Look, I mean, this was really impressive defensive effort from Springville. They held Maple Mountain to 3 field goals. This is a Maple Mountain team, when you look at the stats, they moved the football, but that defense of Springville made timely stops when they needed it. Valetti, back to his rushing ways, had a pair of rushing touchdowns, as Springville saying, hey, look, Maple Mountain, first year new staff, making some good strides, but it's still our region. Springville with the big time win over Maple Mountain, defending the southern part of Utah County. 31-23, Springville with the victory over the Maple Mountain Eagles.
Man, that game was 14-13 for a long time, and then Springville able to get that taken care of. That was a good one. How about this one? Box Elder came in undefeated. Their first game on their brand new turf, which, by the way, it looks spectacular. The beat at the 50-yard line is majestic. It looks so good. But Bountiful comes in. They were 4-3 on the year, kind of up and down, and they jump out, speaking of Bountiful, 21-7 early in that game. And then here comes Dax Sumco, 2-yard touchdown run. Griffin, Jay Macias kicks a field goal, and all of a sudden Box Elder has got the lead. And then here comes Bountiful. Emerson Geilman to Britton Tidwell, 20 yards out. Boom, we're going to OT, and in overtime, it's a 2-yard touchdown run from Jacob Brooks after the defense stopped Box Elder on offense. I mean, just outstanding game for Bountiful. They get the win at Box Elder, 34-28. And, man, I was so impressed. Coach Freck, they kind of just start turning it on and getting it going. But before I move off of this, go offer Dax Sumco. Kid runs the football, but Dane, he had a hit from the linebacker position. Bountiful thought they had this big run. The seas parted, and all that was left between the running back and the goal line was number 31. Number 31 won. Let's put it that way. He lays the hammer. But go get this kid, because you're going to get someone with terrific things. But man, like I said, Box Elder, getting Philatel Satawala, one of the best players in the state of Utah. Not surprised they can hang around, but man, impressive 34-28 win for Bountiful.
Yeah, that's a big-time win for Bountiful, and that region is crazy. You know, there are 4 teams at 4-1 atop that region right now. Nuts.
Isn't that nuts? And well, they own the 5A RPI. I mean, they own it.
Yeah. All right, my best of 4A. Hey, this was a game, Dusty, that we thought would be good. Man, what a ball game for the Provo Bulldogs. They got out to an early lead in this one.
It's a good one.
Spanish Fort comes back. I think the Dawn scored like 12 unanswered. They take a 22-21 lead in this one with just like minutes to go in the ball game. You think, oh gosh, is this game over? It's not over. You've got Aston, who throws a dime to Duchère. That goes almost 50 yards. Then Lisa runs another 30 yards. Then he caps it off with a 2-yard touchdown inside of a minute to go. Provo goes for 2 to go up even by 7. They convert it. 29-22, the Provo Bulldogs never say die on the road. They get a come-from-behind victory, and they remain in hopes for a region championship thanks to a big win on Friday night.
Lessa was an absolute animal. He had a screen touchdown catch and run it's on our top 5 plays. It was spectacular. That touchdown at the end of the game, that was pure. Nobody could stop that kid. I told someone, I was like, he looks like Hemehe Mooley when Hemehe Mooley was at Provo back in the late 80s, early 90s. That dude ran through people, and that's what Leslie reminded me of. Here's another one. How about Dixie and Cedar City? It's the first time we have to really talk about the Dixie Flyers. They were 3-4 coming this game, taking on Cedar. They jump out 7-0. Then here comes Cedar. Cedar ties it up at 14. The Dixie scores the next 2. The last being Wyatt Truman to Jackson Barbin. And then at the end, I mean, we had a 51-yard touchdown pass from Kelling to Am York for Cedar City. And then one more, Kelling to Traden Elliott to tie the game up at 28. And then here comes Dixie. March right down the field. And with 2.5 minutes left, Jonathan Balbanio Vargas hits a 27-yard field goal which proves to be the game winner as Dixie able to hold off Cedar City 31-28. They improved to 4-4 on the season. And when we talk about this 4A, the 4A is so open. I think it's what proves this.
Yep.
Other than Crimson Cliffs, I mean, we can talk about that. Who's battling for Crimson Cliffs? Because that's what's happening right now. Because the Mustangs are just rolling right along.
Yeah, they are. But to your point, like it feels like there's some separation there, and then everyone else is at the same spot in 4A. It's going to be a fun playoff.
It is. It's going to be nuts. All right, Dane. Best of the rest.
All right, hey, my best of the rest. We're going to get back on the theme. I don't know if you noticed, Dusty, but there's a theme to our show this week. We'll see if you can figure out the theme after my best of the rest. How about Leighton
Dane's victories over Dusty. Yeah.
Leighton Christian with a big-time win. This is a group that it's been off to a tough start for the Leighton Christian Eagles this year, moving up to 2A. It wasn't tough on Friday night, man. They'd go take on.
No, it wasn't.
And this was all Leighton Christian as Marcus Miles. What a ball game for him. 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown as the Eagles 49-7 take care of business against Providence Hall, who was undefeated in that region. No more. Leighton Christian improves to 2-1 for a 3-way tie in second place. Just a game back of South Summit for that region lead. It was a statement win for the Leighton Christian Eagles. Don't look now. They're starting to fly, Dusty.
Hey, now I think we both picked Provo. I think we had that one on there. I think we both picked Provo. Let's not get a little crazy here, Dave. But yeah, I mean,
well, I don't think we had a difference in a 4A game, so I had to just roll with Provo.
Now the new problem is always like I can't keep talking about them and then not pick them. Well, I probably should have not picked them because we had it on the sheet. You know, that was a big mistake. But how about this one? This was the game of the weekend in the rural area. Richfield up to Manti. Manti coming off that huge win over Canyon View. Vince used the whole thing about who was the best scoring defense, and made Richfield proved it, man. I mean, this was a old fashioned butt kick out and got things started through a 33-yard touchdown pass to Gage Yardley. The defense gets another stop. Hafen to Yardley again. Then Hafen ran in the next 2. He counted for all 4 touchdowns as Richfield, in what could be a 3-8 title game preview, take care of business here, 28-7. Mason Starkweather Industries did get in the end zone late in the game, but man, Richfield just ran ruckshaw all over Manti in this one.
Yeah, big time win for Richfield. That talk about a statement week in week 8. Huh? A lot of teams making big statements. Richfield as well.
Absolutely. All right, we don't have the wheel, so we're going to turn to Vince. All right, Vince. Vince's moment / Vince's topics. Boom!
Hey, guys. It's Vince. Hey, if I gave you time to think about it, what is the most you've ever accomplished in 24 minutes?
I have so many funny answers that I will not share. This is a family-friendly program. So,
is it like eating 25 wings? What? I don't know.
I hit 4 threes in an organized basketball game on 4 straight possessions. So that was probably more like 2 minutes. But, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they say I had 2 home runs and like back-to-back at-bats, once. So, yeah, that feels pretty good.
The fences were pulled in. Okay,
like
so
that.
If you're Creek Sharp of the Emory Spartans, in a half on Friday, had 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in one half.
Wow.
It's things you can't see in a box sport. Yeah, I just wanted to call it out because, that was really impressive.
Hey, Sharps, I mean, Zach Sharp was a stud running back at Emory, and, I'm guessing Creek has to be related in there somewhere. Maybe Zach's son. Zach was 2 years older than me. So he's got a good bloodline there. He's not a Stilson or a Jensen or a Justice or about the 5 other last names down there in Emory County, but he's doing pretty well for himself.
Okay, question number 2. All right, so this is a toss-up. There are 2 teams, one in 5A, one in 4A, both are sitting at 6-2, neither of which we had any sort of expectations for coming into the season. So the question is, between Roy and Salem Hills, who has had the most impressive season?
Look, I'm never going to go against black and gold. I'll go with Roy. And I think for me, when I think of Roy, you think of, they lose their coaching staff 2 years ago, graduated players last year, didn't really know what to expect out of Roy. And in that region, I would not have put them as being a contender. I felt like there were other teams that were maybe further down the road in that region. You talk about a team like Box Elder, you talk about Bountiful, what they've built there. I would not have put Roy being in a position of contending for a region title in that region, because even the other teams that would have been on my radar would have been the likes of Woods Cross with their running attack and their experience. And so for me, Roy has been probably the most impressive, or more impressive than Salem Hills. Salem Hills has been great. But for me, there was maybe a little more of an unknown, where I felt like I kind of knew Roy and didn't know that I'd have as big of expectations what they've lived up to.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty good, because I think if you look at Salem Hills, I mean, you look at the two losses they have, and they are the two probably the toughest games they played thus far. Skyview got them the first game of the year, and Provo. But look at the teams they beat. I mean, they beat Maple Mountain. Maple Mountain was 2-0 coming into their place. They took care of Payson 27-19 at home, and then they beat Spanish Fork in a slobber knocker of a game, 16-13. I mean, so this is a team in Salem Hills. I was saying shocked to be one thing, but I think they've won the games you hope they were a little more coin tossy, and I think that's important for a team trying to bounce back in a program now in 4A it's got to figure themselves out a little bit. So I think that's what's impressive to me with Salem Hills. I think I'd put them on the same level of how shocked am I. Roy, I'm a little more surprised at their record, to be honest with you, from where we were, just because we didn't know as much. Where Salem Hills is a little more tried and true with the tradition there.
Well, and I think the other thing for me with Roy is, I mean, for me, the most impressive win for Roy is that win over Bonneville. Because remember, Bonneville had just laid the wood, I think, the week before to Bountiful, if I recall correctly. Mm-hmm. And then Bountiful goes to Roy. And, I mean, that's like a 4-possession game. It was 50-something 10 or 14. I mean, it was just so one-sided. It was dominant. And for me, like, the offense that Roy has shown this year has completely blown me away, because it feels like every week they're dropping 40 points. Yeah,
no, that's true. And they found their offense, and that's been impressive. Yeah. Salem Hills, big test this week. I guess we already say it, game of the week, Salem Hills at Timpanogos. I mean, Timpanogos got the big win against Payson, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But yeah, I know those are two good ones, and we'll see how good Salem Hills is. Hey, another big test this weekend.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right, the final question is...
so sarcastic with the awesomes.
You did great. Okay, so on Friday, Murray was taking on Tooele, and I'm curious if you guys think this is the play of the year.
Yes, emphatically yes. There's no other answer. And kids, you know what he learned in that play? Listen to your linemen. Follow your linemen. They're gonna block for you, but they're the only ones that knew that he wasn't down. His lineman's like, go, 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 go. Like, that was awesome.
Yes, agreed. That is by no doubt the play of the year. And Dusty, I thought the same thing. I'm like, look, man, you don't think being a lineman carries a lot of glory? No, man, there's your opportunity, right? And we talked about Murray. It's not been a great year. Look, that's a play in your award ceremony and on your season video. No, like, this is awesome. I mean, first of all, the deflection. You know, like, it goes off a helmet and he regathers it out of the air. And then
off the arm of the defender,
Not down. And there's the lineman.
Not down.
Go, buddy.
He's like, go. The only two guys that knew it were two linemen. They're like, come on. Yeah. So awesome. That is so awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, that's just great. We have that on top 5 plays. Not to spoil it. You'll see it on there. it's number one. I mean, just to and Vince. Vince already. I mean, that goes out before this, but if you haven't watched it, go see it because Vince put he did what? I mean, it was the Al Michaels call with Antonio Freeman against the Vikings. Yeah, I mean that was awesome. So good.
That's fantastic.
Vince, anything else?
Nope, that's everything.
Well, thank you, Vince Francis, for your moment here on the KSL Sports Rewind. That's presented by Boulder Bag. So go go check out boulder2belts.com. You need something fixing, that's what Vince does. Go to boulder2belts.com, put in the code military10. Yeah, use that one. That's a good one. Or special 10, and you get 10% off. All right, let's go to our quick hits. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, I'm going to start, Dusty. I don't know what's going on up north. Weaver, man, the Warriors keep winning football games. Kachakarni, a pair of passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, 30-27. They get the women over Farmington. And you know what this does, man? I'm telling you, Region 1 looks very interesting with Weber and Davis and Syracuse, the Warriors hanging with the pack at the top.
Yeah, that was an impressive win. I kind of teased this one earlier. Remember last year when Timpanogos and Payson were both undefeated, and Payson went and Timpanogos and put up 42 points in the half? I was like, well, maybe Timpanogos isn't that good. Well, they get their comeuppance this year because Chase Riggs being back changes Timpanogos' offense.
Yeah.
He's been absolutely lights out since coming back from breaking his hand. And how about this? Easton Bretzing is the running back you don't know about. He was a slot receiver a year ago. This kid put on 15 to 20 pounds of pure muscle. And now he's a battering ram. Had a 22-yard touchdown run, a 2-yard touchdown run. And in the end, Cash McCann had a couple of touchdowns as well from Chase Riggs. And we got to throw this one out. Cooper Swayze, it says, it was Micah Swayze. It was Cooper Swayze. 92-yard. He had a 70-yard and a 92-yard touchdown run, or catch and run. I mean, absolutely, that kid's just spectacular. It hasn't been as highlighted of a season as it was a year ago. But Cooper Swayze is an absolute stud. But Luke Livingston even had some highlight reel catches this one. He did have a touchdown catch as well. I think they gave it to McCann, but it was Luke that had that one. So big win. Timpanogos avenges their win from the year ago, 35-30.
I'm excited to see Luke this week. Luke, let's ball out on Friday night. I can't wait to see Livingston in our game of the week. Hey, we talked about the craziness that is Region 5. Well, how about Woods Cross and Northridge? Two programs that have had great history. Man, they went toe-to-toe on Friday night. Woods Cross coming out with the win, 38-21. Coates had a pair of rushing touchdowns. Jackson Frescas, we haven't talked a lot about this kid because Northridge hasn't won a ton of games, but he is an electric returner. So athletic, so good for the Knights. Of course, his dad coaching in his alma mater, but Woods Cross gets the victory over Northridge in a matchup of Coach Frescas versus the former employer winning out on Friday, 38-21 for the Cats.
Yeah, good one. That is a really good one. How about Orem and Cedar Valley? Orem trying to get things ready, get things going. Cole Engelman, the sophomore quarterback, found Asher Young from 68 yards out. It was Fleddy Iongi, had 2 rushing touchdowns, including a 78-yard touchdown run. Max Hickson added one as well as Orem down Cedar Valley 31-19, improving their record to 3-5 on the season.
Desert Hills taking on Snow Canyon, and boy, this Snow Canyon team does. They were 5-2 coming in, and what's felt like kind of a season that hasn't lived up to prior years. That's how good they've been, and yet they've been solid this year. But on Friday night, it was Desert Hills 31-21. Titan Mason back to that ground and pound for Desert Hills. 4 rushing touchdowns for the Thunder as they thunder past the Warriors by 10.
I mean, that was huge. How about this? Bingham trying to get back on the right side of things against Riverton. They win this one 31-6. Iono had a 28-yard catch from Boston Singley. Carson Sudbury added a touchdown run of 21. Chase Swenson from 46. And Cole Frankham caught another touchdown pass from Boston Singley. This was all Bingham 31-6. Restoring a little bit to the rivalry here because Riverton's had their number the last few years.
Yeah. Well, that has to feel like a big one, getting a monkey off the back and what's been a tough rivalry for Bingham recently. Look, there's a team that state power, you could argue the history's been so prolific, and yet this year has just not gone the way that Juan Diego's been accustomed to seeing. Did not see a non-region win. They were winless heading into region play. And on Friday night, it took overtime, but Juan Diego able to get the big win over Ogden, 31-28. as Mezzanine had a pair of passing touchdowns. Trujillo had a pair of rushing touchdowns in the loss for Ogden. That game goes overtime. Juan Diego with the win, and they're 2-1 in that 3A North. Maybe Juan Diego preparing to make a bit of a run on the back half of the season.
Well, let's see. And, man, Coach Thompson's boys keep battling it out for him.
Yes, they do.
How about no, just because you're undefeated doesn't mean you're blowing everybody out. Because Skyview, man, this region has not been easy on them. They got the win 21-7 over Green Canyon, but it didn't come easily. Egbert had a 15-yard run. Guthrie had a 43-yard catch or touchdown catch from Carson Thatcher, and Egbert ran one in from 29 yards out. And we showed the play of the year just moments ago. There's a catch that's pretty up there. Tanner Farron had a little self-tip drill. He reached inside the defender, popped it up, and caught it on the other side. I mean, it was really, really good. He had a touchdown late in the third quarter. But this was Skyview taking care of Cache Valley. It almost swept the region. I'm pretty sure they've beaten everybody now in region 21-7 over Green Canyon.
I think they have one more game. I think there's one more game for Skyview in region, but still
that's right. They have Mountain Crest.
Still theirs.
They closed out. Yep. They closed out against Mountain Crest.
Hey, I'm going to stay in the 3A North because there were some big-time games on Friday night. Morgan and Grantsville been the two teams atop their respective regions in recent seasons, and this game played out at Grantsville. Remember, we were at that game at Morgan last year. Mm-hmm. Grantsville maybe have an upset on their mind. It wasn't on their mind for long. Morgan with the shutout, 26-0. The Trojans all over the Cowboys. Beck Sheffield had a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown as Morgan continuing to be the kings of 3A. How about this, Dusty? They're 3-0 in region play. They've allowed 14 points. You don't score on Morgan.
No, they don't. And it's been for years that you don't do it. How about this? I keep doing the bad ones on this in our quick hit. So I probably should let you take this one, but I'm going to take it because you were first on Milford, and I'll let you keep that title. See how I do that. How about the Fighting Bryson Barnes? The Milford men go into the stinkiest field in the state of Utah, the Delta Wabbits, and they get the win 26-20 as the brothers Barnes combined for a couple of touchdowns. Colt had a 48-yard touchdown catch, and Sadler had a 28-yard touchdown catch. And Brandlow and others Morgan Finicum got in on the action as well. And as Milford took care of Delta 26-20 and go into Delta and get the win.
That's a good one. How about another one? Duchesne and Millard. And the Duchesne Eagles continuing to flex their muscle as Parker Crum had a pair of passing touchdowns. Caden Turner, a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown in a losing effort for the Eagles of Millard as the Eagles of Duchesne get the victory 36-19. Duchesne remaining undefeated in the 1A North.
We're going to talk about the other undefeated team in the state of Utah, Enterprise. The Enterprise Wolves went out to Kanab, the Little Hollywood, and there was no problem there as Enterprise takes this one 32-7. Hallenbach had a touchdown catch from Riker Phillips. Kyron Bracken had 4 rushing touchdowns. Get this, from a couple from 2 yards out, 1 from 4 yards out, and then just the absolute hammer, 74-yard touchdown run to close out the night as the Enterprise Wolves ran all over the Kanab Cowboys, getting the win 32-7.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Anything else? You good?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Yeah, Isaac Wilson and Take Care were really good. Let's put that. That's your quick hit for the Corner Canyon game. I mean, I think it was like 180, 140 yards passing to each other between the two with a couple of touchdowns. I mean, Isaac Wilson, kid is on a tear. He is absolutely lighting it up, and been really, really impressive to see what Isaac's doing. Because if you know me, Dane knows this. I'm Team Wilson. I didn't even text on Sunday. I was too emotionally involved on Sunday to send any text messages.
It's a good week to be Team Wilson, Dusty.
It is. You know, my wife kicked me out of the room and said I had to go downstairs and watch the game. I was a little too into it. So we had to. All right, before we close things out, let's get to our favorite part of the show. Let's go to the Spark Award with Dane Stewart.
See, hey, we had a special week. We already talked about where I'm going to go with this one. Look, it's been a tough year for Murray. Just have one win on the season. But, man, you want to talk about kids still being bought in. How about Jaden Cottonwood? We got to throw some love to the linemen. No give up by the offensive line. And, look, it's a group that doesn't get a lot of love. They're often overlooked. We often talk about wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks, but none of that happens without a talented offensive line. And when you got a junior who understands the rules and says, hey, you keep going, man, this play's not dead. and what is a one-sided game, mind you, Jaden Cottonwood, that's some of the great things we learn about sports, right? Is the never give up, the keep fighting, the keep grinding through all the adversity that's going to come your way. Whether it says 28-0 on the scoreboard or it's tough times at home or work or whatever, the resolve to be able to keep fighting through in difficult situations and keep elevating those to do their best around you. Jaden Cottonwood, we saw you and we give you tip of the cap for being our Spark Rewind Athlete of the Week.
Absolutely. It can never be too tough to be a great teammate. No matter what the situation is, you can always be a great teammate. That's a really, really good one. Hey, and I got one more for you.
Okay.
How about this?
Okay.
I shared a couple weeks ago that my nephew Tage suffered a season-ending knee injury. And not only is it taking away the rest of football season, he's a captain on the lacrosse team at Timpanogos, and the lacrosse is gone. That's how severe the injury was. Non-contact, playing cornerback. But his teammates wanted to make sure Tage knew they were still thinking about him and everything else. A group of his teammates, and I don't have all the names for all the boys, that showed up to the house after Tate's had surgery to come stop by, spend some time with him to talk to him. I know his lacrosse coach came to the house, spent time with Tage, talked to him, just told him how just how frustrated he was and sad for Tage that he wasn't going to play. Kid was a 3-year contributor, was going to be a 4-year contributor on lacrosse, was a 2-year contributor on the football field, just a good kid, but it's the teammates. Those bonds don't go away. And so to see these young boys, seeing that opportunity, make sure you pick up your teammates, those are things that make stuff like this a little easier when you know your teammates have got your back. And so just a little, I want to take a moment and just thank the Timpanogos community for taking care of my nephew. He may not pick up his glasses when he plays football or lacrosse, but he's a good kid, and it just made me feel good as an uncle to know that, hey, his boys are there to take care of him. And I know there's some co-eds who've been going to the house too to make sure he's a good-looking kid, for those of you who want to know. So.
Yeah, Dusty, that's awesome. I mean, you talk about the brotherhood that gets created in sports and athletics, and it would have been easy to just write the season off and, we don't have him and we miss him. But, man, you keep reaching out and keeping him included. That's awesome.
No, it's absolutely awesome. If there's anything we missed, hit us up. We love to have information on Sparks. Get us that information or hit us up at KSL Sports Rewind on Instagram or on Twitter. We're at Dane_Stewart, at Dusty Litster. We'd love to hear from you. But for Vince Francis and Dane Stewart, I'm Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us and for watching KSL Sports Rewind on KSLSports.com.